So today, we're diving into something really cool. It's this incredible document that mixes myth, philosophy, and real history. It tells the story of a dragon to help us understand the 1500-year-old wisdom of the Shaolin. All right, let's get into it. So, let's meet our hero, Zoran. He's a young dragon, but he's different. See, while all the other dragons are into war, anger, and hoarding treasure, Zoran just isn't. He's an outcast because he's all about joy and kindness. And that simple difference is about to send him on the journey of a lifetime. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with Zoran's story, then look at the inner battles he teaches us about. After that, we'll connect his legend to the actual Shaolin Temple, and finally see why all this ancient wisdom is still so powerful today. So picture this. Zoran gets kicked out by his own kind for being too nice. He and a couple of friends who feel the same way decide to just fly east. For 3 whole months, they fly, finally landing high up in the mountains of Tibet. It's here, far away from everyone, that his real transformation is about to start. And in this cave, something incredible happens. Zoran teaches his friends how to meditate. And they don't just do it for a weekend retreat, they practice for centuries. This leads them to this absolutely profound discovery, which is really the heart of this whole story. The universe isn't some out there thing, it's right inside of us. Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. The source uses Zoran's story to make all this ancient wisdom super practical. After his big realization, Zoran meets some local children and starts to teach them, beginning with the biggest challenges we all face, the ones inside our own heads. He starts by telling them about something called the 5 hindrances. And look, these aren't mythical beasts or external enemies. They're mental states, internal roadblocks that get in the way of our own clarity, whether you're meditating on a mountaintop or just trying to navigate a busy day. In this chart, it breaks it all down perfectly. We're talking about that constant craving for more, right? Or the anger we just can't let go of, that feeling of laziness or the anxiety that just won't shut off. And of course, that little voice of doubt that tells us we're not good enough. Sound familiar to anyone? But here's the thing, it's not just about pointing out the problems. The source gives us a toolkit. It's a simple 4-step process called RAIN. First, just recognize the feeling. Then, accept that it's there, no judgment. Next, investigate it, get curious about it. And finally, non-identify. Realize this feeling is just passing through. It's not who you are. Okay, get ready because the story is about to take this massive leap, connecting Zoran's mythical journey directly to the real-world history of the Shaolin Temple. And this is just a perfect example of how this whole source is structured. You've got the legend on one side, Zoran the magic dragon builds the Shaolin Temple, and then you have the actual history on the other, Emperor Shaolin and the Indian monks who brought Zen Buddhism to that exact same place. But here's the crucial part. Whether you're Team Dragon or Team History, the point is the same. The martial arts taught at Shaolin were never about fighting. They were a tool for self-defense, for sure, but also for discipline and health, to make the body strong enough to support the mind in meditation. So the legend keeps growing, and it gets even more amazing. Zoran, this enlightened dragon, isn't just building temples anymore. He becomes a teacher to a couple of young kids who would grow up to basically shape all of Eastern philosophy. I mean, think about this. The story says Zoran personally teaches a young Confucius and Lao Tzu. He gives them the fundamental insights that they would later expand into these 2 massive world-changing philosophies. It's an incredible idea. So through Lao Tzu, we get this introduction to Taoism. And the core idea is pretty simple, actually. Stop trying to swim upstream. Real strength comes from flowing with the natural current of the universe, the Tao, instead of fighting against it. And that idea leads right into yin and yang. And it's super important to get this right. It's not about good versus evil. It's about balance. Dark and light, passive and active. They're opposites, yeah, but they need each other to create a complete and dynamic whole. You just can't have one without the other. And then there's Confucius. His big takeaway from Zoran gets boiled down to one of the most profound, yet simple ideas ever. The golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. This one thought, this deep sense of empathy, became the cornerstone of his entire philosophy. All right, so we've got dragons, ancient philosophers, Shaolin monks. What does any of this have to do with us, right now, in our world? Well, the source makes that connection crystal clear. And you know what? That's a totally fair question. The source argues this isn't just some dusty old story. It's a living, breathing legacy with practices that have survived and been passed down for thousands of years. And they give us some pretty solid proof. The source points directly to the Shaolin Temple in Germany, a modern center that's in direct contact with the original temple in China. It's a real place you can go right now to learn these exact same principles of mindfulness and self-mastery. Yeah, 1,500 years. Just let that sink in. That's how long this chain of knowledge has been going. It's a living tradition that combines meditation, martial arts, and medicine, and it's still accessible to anyone who wants to learn. And that brings us full circle, right back to where our dragon Zoran started his journey. This one idea, this is the big takeaway. It was the beginning of his quest, and it's the ultimate destination of the Shaolin path. The realization that everything you are looking for out there is already inside you. You just don't know it yet. The only question is, are you ready to look?